Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show with social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri K, and I am the 5-star general. Somebody need to do something with these disrespectful politicians. When you go in and you want to speak at city council and the school board, they want to shit on you. It don't just happen in Texas. It happens in Louisiana. It happens everywhere. You know, my man called Connie texting in a school board meeting in Louisiana. Say, man, we going to talk about it tonight. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone to tell you thank you for taking time to tune in, because you know without you guys we wouldn't have a show. I want to start off by telling y'all I've been getting the calls and the texts and different things because I was in the hospital, so I appreciate it. Just understand I'm not going to start responding to a lot of this until tomorrow. I have to let my body, my mind, everything rest and try to heal. So I just, not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I'm a little tired, and I do the show. I keep the energy, try to keep my energy up until it's time to do the show. But after that, man, I'm back in the bed trying to drink 64 ounces of water a day, you know, just so I don't get sick. I see that the Supreme Court, with a 5-4 vote, has decided to keep the eviction moratorium in place until the end of July. You guys got a reprieve, almost another month to not deal with evictions. Now, once that's up, the Supreme Court has spoken. You ain't gonna get no more leeway. So try to get your business in order before July 31st. Donovan, what's happening, my friend?
All right. Hey, you guys. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the War Zone. It is hot out there in the Pacific Northwest, here on the West Coast, 114 degrees in Portland, Oregon. And you know that is because those white folks have been turning up for over 2 years because they want a change in the system. You can't change the system if you got the same people running it. So there's some logic in what they're doing in Portland, but us, as soon as we get a little symbolism, we go back, you know, doing what we do, get our little Hennessy, get our little weed, you know, go back to Walmart, get our little, you know, minimum wage jobs, you know how we do. But they keep it up until the shit is completely turned over. So I want to welcome you guys. And as you guys may have heard, the Trump Foundation organization, which is a family-owned business. People think like the Trump organization is like eBay or IBM or something or like that. No, the Trump organization is about 30 people, and they're going to be indicted. Now, isn't it funny how the Justice Department, they get you geared up and telling you, oh, we're going to indict Trump. We're going to indict Trump. And now they're getting close to it as this guy gets ready to leave. And the new DAs are going to start coming in at the end of the year, or whatever, whenever they come in. And all of a sudden, the narrative has changed. Well, we're not going to get Trump initially. We're going to, you know, we might indict the corporation or the organization. We won't get him this time. How many times are you guys going to keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe? White supremacy is white supremacy. They are not going to do anything to this man because it would open up a whole can of worms of tit for tat. So, Demetri, what do you got?
Somebody was calling me on Messenger. Sorry, I look like I'm trying to freeze up again. Have no idea what's going on. Yeah, so anyway, nothing's up with me really. If you guys would share this live so that everybody can get the information and join the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. Gary is going to tell us his story of how he was disrespected at the city council meeting by that of Mayor Sylvester Turner. So what had happened was, Gary.
I went to city council today. You had to do it virtually, but they were still, you know, they still hiding behind virtual. So I hate doing virtual meetings because they like to cut you off, and they can get away with that compared to being in City Hall where you don't have to leave the podium. You might be escorted out. Well, whatever. But I went and I talked about violence, but rather than, I want you to see the mayor of the, fourth largest city in the country. When a tax-paying citizen who's not being disrespectful, who's not screaming, who's not cursing, is talking, I want you to see him. So give me a second, and I'm going to cue this up for you. And then I don't want to tell you, I want to show you. So we're going to share this video. All right. We're going to go here. And we're going to go here. And then we'll go there. Okay. Can y'all see that? Let me make sure. Can y'all see that? Okay. So now we're going to show you. I want you to keep your eyes on Mayor Sylvester Turner while I'm talking.
Yeah, star 6. Gary Monroe. Gary Monroe, star 6.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I stood in front of City Council 2-3 years ago. I gave you guys a fair warning about the violence in the city of Houston. I also told you that if you didn't address it properly, that you would surpass Chicago, Illinois. In some aspects, you have surpassed Chicago, Illinois. I want you guys to be aware of something, you ladies, not the new ones that were voted in. I stood in front of City Council. I presented a 21-page plan that was endorsed by the Gun Violence Commission that the mayor put together. That plan was endorsed by the Gun Violence Commission, yet it was never looked at or acted upon. About 2 months ago, there was a shooting in the South Lawn community. Young man got murdered live on Facebook. At that time, I was in Minneapolis, called a flight back to Houston. I'm going into South Lawn. I reached out to the city council person, Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz. She said, I'm going to ride with you. She brought a team of people out there that day. We went into South Lawn and I gave away $40,000 worth of clothes. While I was there, I took a piece of the plan that's in that 21-page plan that you should have, Mr. Mayor, as well as county officials have, as well as the police department has. And in 2 months, Dr. Shabazz, I want to congratulate you. HPD has not been dispatched to that community to deal with one murder or one violent issue. The next weekend, I went over to Scott Plaza, as well as King Row, and I did the same thing. And I asked the police chief, how does it feel not to have to go in there and deal with violent crime or deal with murder? He said, we're really enjoying our break. So here's the question. We surround ourselves with experts in every single field. They know what they're doing when it comes to violence. You cannot deal with violence proactively after it happens. You have to deal with it before it happens. Dr. Muhammad, along with Reginald Gordon, have questioned. Dr. Muhammad questioned, will they not work the plan because I'm a Muslim? Reginald Gordon.
Now, let me take this down for y'all. Let's go here. Do you see how this man is looking? Do you see what this man is doing? Let's get something straight. I'm a tax-paying citizen. Now, as bad as people want to say, I don't know how to conduct myself. Dimitri, you're in public relations. Can you show me anywhere during that conversation where I was disrespectful, where I was belligerent, where I was attacking anybody? Can you tell us, did you hear that? So why would the mayor of the fourth largest city in America, with a man on the phone that knows how to slow down violence, is what you're talking about on your phone or whatever you're doing more important than the conversation we having? Because if you look at the other city council members, they're attentive. You look down at your bottom right. That should be the lady that we exposed her for the living in the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? So we went hard on her. but she never took her eyes off that screen. She never looked at me in what I called a disrespectful manner. But the mayor, who normally keeps a roll of toilet tissue next to him when I speak, was full of shit as usual. Why is it that taxpaying citizens continue to show up to voice our concerns, and these elected officials tend to want to treat us like shit? That's the conversation for tonight.
Well, you know, I have it's not an answer, but it's basically a rebuttal or an answer to the question, sort of. It's sort of like the Obama effect. Once you're in your second term and you're on your way out, why should you give a fuck? And that's the attitude they have. They're like, you can't do nothing to me. I'm on my way out unless some indictments come. But the next person coming in here, they're going to give them the story and tell them how it works. So I'm not even worried about that. And that's why they feel they can do that. If he was going to be facing re-election or, you know, doing something different, he plays the role like, okay, I'm attentive. I'm so concerned. That is the problem in the Black community. These misleaders do not give a damn about people that look like them. And that's just the bottom line. I've seen this, I mean, millions and millions of time when it comes to our leaders. But you have Maxine Waters on WAP on the BET Awards when she should be out here trying to do something for her people. Turner doesn't give a fuck because he's 70-something years old. He got his bag. He don't care.
Yeah, can y'all see me? Yeah, sorry. I don't. Again, my
no. Your feed is perfect.
Okay, cool. So okay, let me say a couple of things. I'm gonna say that no, Gary, you didn't say anything wrong at all to warrant, and I'm gonna say what appears. Now I want to play devil's advocate a little bit because that's what I do. Okay, in public relations. So you weren't doing anything wrong, but if we look at it from a different eye, you weren't on the screen, Gary. So maybe, and I'm not trying to give him defense, there was nothing to look at. And then also there was a couple of other people who were looking down. Now, more than likely, he probably wasn't paying attention. But I'm just saying, you know, just from another viewpoint, maybe because you weren't on the screen, maybe that's why he and a couple other people were looking down. That makes any sense? So it'd be different, like if you were on the screen, then maybe they could look or whatever the case is. But maybe because you weren't, maybe, I don't know, they were looking down and maybe playing on their phone. I don't know. But it was a couple of people who did it as well.
Well, D, on the Zoom call like that, Gary is actually on the screen. That's why the other representatives were looking attentively. Just because we couldn't.
He wasn't on the screen. He was a phone call, right?
Yeah, it was a phone call.
A phone call.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But I will say this, that there are instances where I've spoken at City Hall, and right before I would speak, he would get up and walk out. Or he would have his head down and he wasn't paying attention. So some days I had to get his attention by making a simple comment, you know, and it got his attention. Boy, pick your head up when a man talking. You see what I'm saying? And I get that he does not like me. And I get that I don't like him. And it's not that I don't like him personally. I don't like the job performance that he's given us for the last 6 years. I don't like the ignoring the African-American community or the Latino community. But yet every time you open your mouth as the leader of this city, you talk about its diversity. You talk about how you're fighting for the Blacks and the Latinos. But when we come down there, you've thrown people out of City Hall. You've talked to them very, very nasty. Now, that's one thing I'm not going to put up with. When I show up at City Hall and you talk to me like I'm a child. Jerry Davis found that out in the city council meeting one night too. Because I'll have you removed. Well, what's wrong with your removal? Because you ain't gonna stop me from talking, homeboy. The thing I have a problem with is right now, there are a lot of people's lives in danger, and most of the people that sit on the Diaz life is not in danger. Donovan, Demetria, and all you good people out there that live in this community, lives are in danger. So you don't have the protection that these people have on a daily basis when they just move around and go from function to function. We don't have that protection. And the crime rate is steadily going up, but you are on the phone with the guy who took a neighborhood that they shoot in every single day, and for 2 months, nothing. And you don't want to listen? That tells me you do not care about human life, especially the lives in the Black community. You've shown that you care about the LGBTQ community. You'll jump on any violent thing in the community. You've shown that you care about the affluent white community. Anything happens in their community, you're on top of it. But anything that happens in our community, where you had one of your campaign offices in the heart of our community last time you ran, you don't do anything. And then when we come to speak to you in a manner, like Donovan said on the post, I was smooth, I was articulate, you still shit in my face. Now, Demetria, you're just meeting me. You don't get to shit in my face too much, because now you got a problem. Now you got a problem. And the problem is going to come to your front door, Mr. Mayor. I will protest you in front of your fucking house any time of the day or the night that I choose to. Because the one thing that you're going to do that America has learned, this little fat, sexy motherfucker, you will not ignore him. And I'm going to make you smell my cologne, nigga.
So I think we should concede that he just doesn't like you, for a whole host of reasons, right? The one that we could probably, a lot of reasons we could be here all night long of why he doesn't like you. So that's probably why he's not paying attention, like he's probably, oh my God, especially if you told him to, maybe put his mouth on some of your body parts in the past. Maybe that doesn't resonate. But the other thing, and we talked about this last week, they're not interested in getting rid of the crime there in those neighborhoods. It's a financial reason. They are going to gain financially by those neighborhoods being gentrified. They bring in people who have money and who can help move the city forward for whatever reason and move out the people who live there. And what better way to do it than to let them kill each other? As I said, it is city-sanctioned genocide. We allow it to happen. We act like we're trying to do something about it, but we're not really. We allow people to kill each other in that neighborhood, and if people are afraid, and maybe the people who've been there for 30, 40 years, they begin to move out because it's just completely unsafe. Then when, it's safe to do so or whatever, because they can go in there and do something about it if they wanted to. We go clean it up, get rid of the criminals and the crime. Then we build it up, beautify the situation, and then we have, other people coming in there and then they take over. I mean, that's really what it is, right?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, it's that. And then, of course, the people who suffer and have no place to go then automatically become a problem. And as you know, Demetria, here in California, once people have been gentrified, 30-something thousand Black people in the Southern California, in the county of LA alone, are homeless right now. Now it is a homeless issue and a humanitarian issue, to where now it's a problem. And they basically have started to criminalize the homeless for being where they're at and doing what they're doing just to survive. And so we're getting it on both ends by the very people that look like us, that we vote in the office. And we keep doing it over and over again because we think, instead of looking at these people's records and what they really stand for, and instead of getting them out if they don't do what they're supposed to do in regards to Black people, we keep them in because we think that an everybody agenda benefits everybody. We know statistically, when Black people are included in everybody, we are the least likely to benefit from any programs whatsoever. But Gavin Newsom here in California could buy $5 billion out of nowhere to pay everybody's rent and mortgage out of nowhere. But when we say, oh, well, we need more boys and girls clubs, we need more resources, like the 5-star says, why is there never any money for that? But out of the air, you can just pull money out and just throw it down a well. But we can't have any kind of youth programs, any jobs, nothing. And we fall for it every time.
I'll tell you this here, the mayor is a racist. And the reason that I say that, he's racist against his own people. I've seen countless number of times that Black tax-paying citizens have been thrown out of city council because that's what he wanted. I've never seen a white person thrown out of city council. As mad as they may be, as rough as they may talk to him, He doesn't ignore them. He doesn't put his head down. He sits there and listens attentively. But if it's a black person, if it's Ashton P. Woods from Black Lives Matter, you throw him out of city council. If it's Charlie Jones, you throw him out of city council. You ain't never had the balls to throw me out. And I don't give a damn if you throw me out. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to silence us. You're not going to silence us. Right now is not the time for me to be silent. If I'm silent right now with the ability that I have to affect the change when it comes to violence, I'm a coward. And I refuse to be a coward at this moment. So if that means I got to step on a bunch of toes, then I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. There are some counties that are neighboring that are choosing to listen to me. And the crazy part, I never reached out to them. They reached out to me because they want to know what is it that we're not doing. This is what you pay consultants for. This is what you pay, people like Demetra for. You see what I'm saying? You need advice from people that know what they're talking about. And right now, nobody that's dealing with crime in the city of Houston knows what they're talking about. You motherfuckers know how to violate the law, though, but you don't know how to deal with violent crimes. Now, if we were talking about how to clean up crooked politicians, I bet y'all have a line around the corner with that one. You have a whole lot to say about that because you crooked as they come. But when we're talking about violent crimes, you good people sitting on that Diaz ain't never sold no dope. You people sitting on that Diaz ain't never had to commit crimes just to get you some food on your table. You don't know what it's like, and you don't know what to do. So you surround yourself with these makeshift ass community groups that don't know what the hell they doing, and you make it sound good. And as you're making it sound good for the last 3 to 4 years that I've been speaking to y'all, the crime rate ain't did nothing but this. That's because you don't know what the hell you're doing. So I came today, different fashion, no screaming, no hollering, but I got something for your ass now.
Demetra, Jalen said something that is very prevalent when it comes to these politicians, these professional politicians. It's all about ego. It's all about ego. Here in my city, we had a chick, and you saw when all the recalls were happening, Demetra, they were sitting up there based on their egos. Well, what you gonna do? I'm backed by this. I've got a developer. I've got money. Jalen, you hit it right on the thing. It's like they get to these positions, and then they're no longer Ray from the corner anymore. Now he's Renard Lewis, graduate of Houston University or whatever, and he's talking a different lingo, and it's all about ego. We had a lady here, and she ran for office on popularity, and it was all about her ego, right? She said she cared about the city, was not true. All about ego. If you cared about the city so much, why don't you let somebody else who knows what the fuck they're doing get in there that's younger, that's really going to get something done? But the reason why she ran for office, and a lot of these people run for office, it's not always necessarily about the money. They don't run for the money. They run for the access to power. When you are a city council member, you get invited to the big parties of the movers and the shakers because you're an influencer and they're going to try to influence you. And that's what it's all about. It's about influence. And here in my city, a lady that did that, it wasn't about the money. It was the idea that she's around the money people. She's around the major politicians and all that other stuff. And, she's taking a picture and all that. Ego. Jalen, ego. You hit it right on the nail.
Yeah, it most definitely is an ego issue. But I keep seeing a lot of people talk about, hold on a second. Sorry about that. I have some noise in the background. So I keep seeing a lot of people talk about him being LGBTQ. And, he does things, I guess, for that community. But I think we're all missing the point. They are or maybe I shouldn't say that. I was going to say well-oiled. They are a tight-knit community. A tight-knit community.
Lucrative community.
And they work in tandem to get what they want. the LGBTQ community is just like the Asian community, like the Hispanic community, white people, and they're like that community to where they are on the same page, and they will hold a mofo accountable for not doing what they want. How is it that they have all these laws? That was one of the first bills that Biden signed on day one, or or reversed or whatever on day one. So they know what they're seeking, and they go after it. And these politicians know that you better not mess with that community. Otherwise, you're going to be held accountable. That is what we as Black people don't have. We don't have unity, and we're not on the same page in order to get something beneficial for us. But as soon as we start doing that, we'll be getting stuff too. But, we overwhelmingly vote people like Mayor Turner and Sheila Jackson Lee and Maxine Waters. All those people, we vote those people in the office. They survive off of Black votes, but they don't do anything for Black people because we don't ask them to. And most of us don't expect them to do it. And so if we can take a note from the LGBTQ community and do what they're doing, then we get something too.
Al say I need to try a different approach. Al said, just try a different strategy, 5-star, and don't make any more threats. Well, here's a threat that I'm going to make. That I am not in the habit of begging anybody to do what needs to be done. So what I'm going to do for you, Al, right now, hold on a second, because you know me, I like to be able to do what I do. Let me get real close to you. Can you see me? I'll put some lip gloss on my lips. Let's do that. Listen. Now, I put the lip gloss on my lips for a reason. So next time I go in, Al, I know who ass I need to kiss. I know who ass, because today I wasn't disrespectful. Today I didn't make a threat. But I'll go in the next time and I'll figure out whose ass I need to kiss in order to help save human life. Will that work? Now, y'all on city council.
Wrong shade. You need it red.
Yeah. Hey, I need it red, though. I really need it red. But the thing is this. When I go in, city council members, next time, make sure you got on your finest set of boxers, and hopefully you got on some boy shorts. And I'll come in there and kiss your ass to try to get some help for the people.
Yeah, you need a different shade, like a bright red that'll really get the attention of whoever you need to get attention. Yeah, but I mean, to me, at this point, is always going to go back to us having a lack of unity. When we understand that, Gary, you won't have to fight so hard. Mayor Turner won't sit up there and, be nonchalant about something that's very serious. Those are his people that are being slaughtered. Like
you said a few minutes ago, you have a few people up here debating his sexuality. So today, I don't know if I was talking to Mr. Mayor Turner or Mrs. Mayor Turner. I don't know who I was talking to. And I don't give a damn if he get mad that I said it. I don't know if I was talking to the heterosexual guy or the down low guy. I don't know. But whichever way I come, Negro, you seem to have a problem with me. And that's because you don't give a damn about people dying.
Well, I mean, I don't know who you were talking to. I'm going to leave that one alone. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really the latter part of what you said. I mean, they just really don't care about people dying. And it's for a reason. It is eugenics is what it is. They don't have to implement that program. It's being done for them for various reasons. Crime is high everywhere. But, like you said, Gary, you guys were aiming for it not to be 500. And now it's approaching 600.
I'm going to be honest with you. If we pull out of the neighborhoods that we're in, even with no funding, he'll hit 600 with his eyes closed. Now, we were fighting not to get you to 500. But if we pull out, you're going to hit 600 with your eyes closed.
Yeah, so I think that's really the issue. They don't care. Kill off the Negroes. There was a lot of people in high profile positions, throughout history. W.E.B. Du Bois, I believe, was one of them. You know, he had a lot of great things to say about Black people, but he was like, shit, get rid of the low-hanging fruit, if you will. You know, the people who are burdened in society, people who don't want anything in society, who are, you know, a drag to the race, not a credit. Let's just get rid of them, sterilize them, kill them, whatever. And so now it's been so designed to where they don't have to do it anymore. We do it. And so they sit back and watch it happen, you know, and in their minds, and this is not me, this is what they think. We're not allowing people who matter. I'm not saying that, but this is what they're thinking. People who matter to die. These are people who are poor, who are dependent upon the system, who, you know, are doing things that we feel are deplorable. So why do we care if they die? It's not like we're killing off rocket scientists, people who are, as they would say back in the day, a credit to the race. Those are the people who need to go. So we'll sit back, and when enough of them are gone, then we'll do something. We'll take it over.
Well, I tell you what, Jamarcus made a profound statement. He said maybe he was on his cycle today. So maybe you didn't have your pad on, Mr. Mayor. Maybe you needed your pad on today. Let me know if you need some more pads, homie. I got you some. Because when you're on your cycle, you tend to act funny. You go through emotional states. I will bring you, matter of fact, when I go to the next city council meeting, I'm going to bring me a pack of pads. You need a pad, homie? Because you were really up there acting like a woman that was on a cycle today when I was talking. You wasn't acting like a grown-ass man that's over the fourth largest city in America, that has a serious violent crime problem and don't want to listen to the people that can solve it. So this for you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to do the rest of my show like this here with the pad on.
You know, but I got a question for you guys. What is the common denominator of all of these mayors in all the major cities, even in the middle cities? Democratic, and they're 70-something years old plus. Show me where there is a mayor who is either young and, you know, doing the work and doing what they're supposed to do. Some of these mayors are 70 plus, and they just don't give a fuck. And until we start understanding that, the generation that is ahead of us, they don't care. They're mad because they don't have access to interracial sex like, you know, the younger kids do now and all that other stuff. And that's all they really care about. So it's just sad. It's just really, really sad.
Listen, that is a giant pad. Who is that for?
If you remember what I told you, and it might apply, that some of these dudes that lay up next to some of you women got bigger pussies than you. And some of these dudes that run these goddamn cities got bigger pussies than some of you women.
Well, I guess that's who needs it. I mean, that is huge. That damn.
Hey, a brother needs a place to live. You got to do what you got to do sometime.
I don't even know what to say. Oh my God. Well, listen. Go ahead now.
But, you know, I don't want to change the subject, but I think we need to speak on this because I put it in the comments there. You guys heard about the 76-year-old lady that was ordered back to prison under the Biden administration.
Why?
Because she did not answer her phone while she was in a computer class. Thoughts?
Well, what happened was, because I actually covered the story, it hasn't aired yet. She, 76-year-old lady, she was out on probation is what it was. And she got out under the coronavirus. You know how coronavirus was rampant in the prisons. And so they allowed her to go home early. Now, she was sentenced in 2006 for trafficking heroin. She was in some sort of ring and she pled guilty to it, trafficked through a couple of states. They gave her 35 years.
From Baltimore. She's also from Baltimore.
Yeah, they gave her 35 years. So she was in a computer class, you know, trying to better herself. Now she's 76. Computer class, she didn't hear her phone ring or whatever. And so that was about 10:51 in the morning. She got home at about 1:17 and like thought, oh, okay, they was trying to reach me. And by that time, they came and gaffled her up, took her back to jail because her lawyer was saying, they were like, well, as far as we know, she could have been out there robbing banks. And so we treated like she was robbing banks and we classified it as an escape. And so they're waiting as of, I heard last to process her back into prison. I guess to continue serving her 35 years at 76 years old. And her mom is still alive at 94 years old. She says, I just got to do a number on my mom.
So with all the criminals that you have walking the streets of DC, politicians, with all the criminals that you have with the insurrection on January 6th, you are going to send a 76-year-old woman back to prison who's in a classroom trying to better herself so that she can be a positive member of society. You're going to use all your immediate resources to go and snatch her up and put her back in prison. Wow. Thank y'all for being the suckers that y'all are.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. I got up early this morning and I put an interview she did because they were applauding her a month ago about getting out and turning her life around and stuff like that. Now, for those guys to say that, oh, she could have been robbing a bank. Didn't you have an ankle bracelet on her? So what are we paying all of this money and for all this technology and you don't know where this woman is? You can't track this woman?
Well, I guess they could track her and they noticed that she wasn't in the house. And I don't know if that's where she was supposed to be, but they're saying that she wasn't at home. And so they began to call her to see where she was and she didn't answer her phone. And so they put out a warrant for her arrest.
Yeah.
Well, all they need to do is verify that she was in the class.
And they did. The instructor says she was here. She's been here for a while. The lawyer, everybody verified that's where she was, but that's the system.
I wish it was the old West time because old Jesse James then would go break out that bitch.
Yeah, and the sad thing is when they did this interview for her last month or the month before last, she was saying when they finally released her under the Trump administration COVID release program, now remember, she's been away for like 16 something years. She's been away for a lot of years. And she went back to Baltimore and she said that what shocked her was the deterioration of Baltimore in the time that she was there and the lack of grandmothers and mothers within the community. What does that say?
They don't give a damn, like Demetra said in the beginning. They would target her because she's poor and she's black and she's from the community. And now she's an activist. She can wake people up. We got to get rid of her.
That's exactly what it is. They don't need somebody going in there and waking the people up. But to her point, where are the elders? Where are the elders in the community anymore? They're ceasing to exist, and especially the elders who can impart wisdom on people. Now they don't want her to do that. They want Baltimore to continue to sink into the bowels of hell, so they can go and snatch it up and revitalize it and call it, Balter Green or something, something white and gentrified.
Yeah.
Well, Ragnar says zero sympathy for anybody that sells or sold heroin. So that means that anybody that's been in office for 30 to 40 years, Ragnar, I need you to listen. I don't need you to comment. Anybody that was involved with the Iran-Contra scandal that helped ship dope to the United States of America, that means you're not fucking with them no more, right? Democrats and Republicans, am I correct? What you need to do is stop having any sympathy for any political official that was in office during that time that's still in office that shipped this dope to our communities. If the dope never makes it here, we never fuck with it. Well, let me ask you a question. Was Mitch McConnell in office, Donovan? Was Joe Biden in office, Donovan? So, Ragnar, I don't think you need to fuck with them either. The United States of America is the biggest dope dealer in the world.
But my thing is this, Ragnar. Where is compassion? Where is redemption? That lady was in her 50s when she went in there, you know, I guess 60 at this point, you know, when she went. And she's 76 now. You know, people make mistakes, but to say that you don't have any sympathy, I think that's the word you use, any sympathy for her. How could you not have sympathy for somebody who is, for one, 76, made a mistake, and has spent 16 years? You know what it was? It was a kilo. Now, I don't know how much a kilo of heroin is worth, because that's what it was. But it's not like Gary said, she was a major distributor of that. They got the trickle down of, they were the little people distributing it, whatever they were doing with it. But to say you don't have any compassion for her, I wonder, where do we get as Black people to where we are so quick to throw our people away? And you got Joe Biden, from the looks of it, you didn't vote for him because you got a Trump hat on, but you got Joe Biden, who has dilapidated a whole community, generations of Black people. And no doubt, you know, she's in there due to the mandatory minimums that he insisted upon. But yeah, we forgive those type of people. But yeah, we want to throw an old lady away and have no compassion because she made a mistake. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, if you go by that, everybody's guilty. Now, I can tell you this. You guys heard that Biden, once again, bombed Syria and all this other stuff. And it connects to the story that we're talking about right now. They do not want to get out of the Middle East, especially Afghanistan, because one of the main things that the Army and the Marine Corps protect in Afghanistan is the world's biggest poppy fields. The poppy fields, which makes heroin and cocaine and all that other good shit. How does that get out of Afghanistan? It is flown out via military transports. How many of you guys know that? How many of you guys know that a military aircraft is sovereign? It gets sovereign immunity like an embassy in another country. How many of you guys know that a lot of drugs is flown all across the United States on military transport aircrafts? I know a lot of people say, no, it can't be done. No, yeah, yes, I can tell you that because I witnessed it. And
well, the Chase Manhattan Bank, they had cargo ships that got caught. Was it heroin, cocaine?
Yep.
Like a year or so ago. So we know they bring that stuff over here.
Yep, exactly. And if you Google it, you will see.
Does he actually know that in 1989, July 5th, Oliver North was given a 3-year suspended prison term, 2 years of probation, $150,000 in fine, and 1,200 community hours, you know, that he needed to do. And in 1990, all that shit was vacated.
Yes, they got
one of the biggest drug dealers that you could ever imagine. The United States government vacated a sentence for somebody who defied Congress, who told them not to be over there fucking with that shit. But you sent a 76-year-old lady back to jail because she didn't answer her phone? Dude, Oliver North never did a day in jail. Nothing. And they pump this shit into our communities. You make sure that we don't have jobs, some of these people, that they can't get jobs when they get out of jail. So they got to do what they got to do. And then we're going to penalize them because you've dehumanized them when they've gotten out of jail. They can't be men anymore. They can't be women anymore. They can't take care of their kids. What the hell are they supposed to do? But these people get caught pumping guns, tons of dope, every type of dope you can name, into our neighborhoods, and they don't do a day in fucking jail. Not one. Marion Barry did more time in jail than fucking Oliver North. And he was smoking crack on his own goddamn time. Michael Vick with a fuck-ass dog did more time than Oliver North. Ragnar, wake up.
Yep. I mean, you can actually Google military members getting caught trafficking drugs I mean, it's all there years and years. They just keep doing it. And what about those military members that are involved in trafficking human beings? How many of you guys remember all those Marines that were caught trafficking Hispanics from Mexico, making money off of that? Those guys are still going through their judicial system. But the point is, this woman is a grandmother at 76 years old, and they're throwing the book at her. Biden could intercede right now. This doesn't look good for his administration. He could intercede right now because this is a federal crime, but he does nothing.
I'm going to disagree with Ragnar on this one. Yes, I understand, but I also know what Heron has done to our neighborhood. Let's get something straight. Wasn't nothing in our motherfucking neighborhood with weed. That was it. Them folks sent that motherfucking crack up in there. Them people sent that motherfucking heroin in there. And them people are sending the opioids in there. But it ain't a problem until their people get hooked on it. It ain't a problem until little Becky with the long hair, who's 16 years old, is walking around looking like a fucking zombie. It wasn't a problem with the criminal justice system when crack was our epidemic and pandemic. You didn't help us treat it. Your treatment was sending us to jail for long periods of time. But now you got all kind of drug courts. You got all kind of diversion program because the white kids that got on the shit. Let's just be real about it, man. It is what it is. The data speaks for itself.
And, you know, speaking of somebody like Oliver North, I mean, he is held as a hero. You know, he had a lucrative career, Fox News, and, you know, they loved him. But yeah, we want to demonize a 76-year-old lady and talk about, I don't feel sorry for her. Our people, I think you are people. I don't know. Everybody ain't our people, but our people like really, really surprise me sometimes. I mean, there, but for the grace of God, there go I. You better be careful what you wish on other people. That lady has served her time. Well, you know, she served 16 years. I mean, damn, you think she should do 35 years? You know, and a kilo is a lot, I guess, depending on which kind you get. I just looked. But to wish bad on her, you don't feel, I tell you, boy, and we wonder why we as Black people struggle. We talk about it all the time. You know, Asians, when people get caught up in some nonsense, you know, killing one of us, what do? They stick together. And they make sure they people don't do a day of jail time. But what we do, well, that's what they get. Even when Kamala was running for president or trying to be vice president, it was many a Negro. Talk about, well, you don't do the crime if you don't want to do the time. Same thing with Joe Biden with his crime bills. Black people talk about, well, did they do it? Well, you shouldn't be doing the crime. But everybody else be like, nah, we need leniency for our people. But us, we want to go ahead and turn the damn key to the jail cell ourselves.
Well, Donovan, you always speak on the 1994 crime bill that was authored by Joe Biden. Am I correct? That bill is still in place. Am I correct? Those laws are still in place.
Still in place. It's still in effect.
When you speak of a kilo, Demetri, 3 pieces of rock cocaine that ain't as big as my finger can get you more time under this bill than a kilo of fucking dope. That crime bill was written for poor Black people. That crime bill was written for poor Black people that sold crack. The same crack that you allowed to come into our country. There's no way in hell that the Mexicans or whatever they are, Guatemalans, you know, they could get this shit here unless you knew about it. There's no way to hide 200 tons of fucking cocaine 2 years ago on a Wells Fargo barge. Where do you hide 200 tons? Did Black people bring that shit near? Where are you hiding your Russian-made AK-47s that are now in our community? When you go to jail, you paid your debt to society. When you get out, you don't have the same rights as everybody else. But the one right they never take from you is the right to pay taxes to they stinking asses for the rest of your life. You don't have the right to defend yourself anymore because you committed a crime. You may have wrote a hot check and got a felony crime. Now you can't own a gun. You feel what I'm saying? But these people that ran up in the Capitol, that murdered people, they're giving them probation. Whatever happened to the black dude? They ain't publicizing that. I guarantee you he'll get more time. What's going to happen to the black girl in the college scam that went on with the SATs? I know her personally. She ain't getting the same treatment that them Hollywood superstars getting and going to jail for 2 weeks and getting out. Understand that they wrote this shit to destroy our communities. The demasculation of black men is designed to separate us and destroy our communities. I get it that you support Trump. I don't have a problem with you doing that. But I don't support idiocy. And don't be the black man that done made it and turn on your community because you're trying to live in a different tax bracket. Right is right and wrong is wrong. The shit that's going on in our community, they put that shit down. They knew what it would do. The same way that they destroyed the Panthers with a bad shipment of dope. How did it get there? How did it get to Oakland? They sent it in there the same way they sending this shit in to destroy our communities now.
And they admitted to doing it. That's the crazy part. They finally admitted to doing it. And so with these crime bills, and now Joe Biden, he's talking about they're saying he endorses a bill to fix what was done, but it's like
you have to repeal. You can't fix it. You got to repeal it.
Well, however he's gonna do it, talking about we're gonna resentence people. It's like you got people in there who've been in there 30, 40 years already for, like you said, little amounts of dope. They spent most of their lives in there. Now you gonna fix it, and that also signals to dumb Negroes. Oh, look, he trying to do something because with a lot of y'all, maybe not y'all here running around talking about, well, he said he was sorry. Joe Biden never said he was sorry. So these kind of things they do so you guys can continue voting for them so you can say, well, he's trying to fix it. He gonna do something about it. Well, if I was locked up for 30, 40 years for a little bit of dope or these, 3 strikes laws or whatever, there's nothing he can do to give me back what I lost. And why do we advocate for, because this is what the system does. They recriminalize Black people. You get out, do something minor, like not answer your phone, and you got to be violated and go back to prison because you didn't answer your phone, and we clap for that stuff. Like, we are really not well. It's disturbing.
Right. And then common sense is you got the technology that can track somebody. You got people that have Fido, got the GPS tracker in his collar. You have no problem tracking Fido, but you're paying this guy $80,000 a year to be a probation officer, and he doesn't have the wherewithal to go on Google Maps and see where this woman is sitting at. Come on now.
Well, I mean, it's by design. I think we don't understand. It is by design. Yeah, because if that was a white lady, she could be on the moon and they wouldn't give a damn. But it's a Black lady who got out and is trying to change up some things and open up people's eyes, wake people up. Now they got to get her ass off the street.
They monitor who they want to monitor. If you look at a case in California, I can't remember. I studied it last semester. I don't have the time to go look it up. They changed a lot of laws, the pedophile laws in the state of California, because a little girl she ended up raped and murdered by a convicted pedophile who was on parole. Well, they wasn't monitoring the man, and come to find out when they did the research on the whole parole division in California, they were not monitoring hardly anybody. The only people they were monitoring were African Americans.
That's the poly-class case with Richard, I forget his last name, but yeah, that's the poly-class case. Yes. And that's where the 3 strikes all came from. Exactly.
So the thing is, they monitor who they want to monitor. They will monitor Black people 24/7. I had a youngster, he was so talented. My partner wanted me to hear him. He was in Orange, Texas. We did the video. I could show y'all the video where the boy is standing in the door of his house. We had to shoot the video with him standing in the door because if he came across the door, his monitor would have went off. Well, it took me to talk to his probation people and reassured him that he was going to be an asset to the community. We had him in a situation where he could make a lot of money because he was really talented. That probation officer took that monitor off that kid's leg. And since they took it off 4 years ago, the kid has not violated one law. If you're going to give him a second chance, God damn it, give him a second chance. Stop fucking around with this, man. Let these people get out here and be normal again. You don't know why people sold dope. You don't know why people sold heroin. You don't know why some of these girls selling pussy. But put yourself in their shoes for one day. Then you'll understand why they goddamn feet hurt.
You know, and the thing is, what does the CBC have to say? What does your girl Kamala Harris have to say for all you Kamala Harris people talking about, ooh, we got a sister up there. Now, here is a sister that's the vice president of the United States and a black woman, a 70-year-old grandmother, black woman is in this situation. What is Kamala going to do about it?
Well, I'm going to say this here because Demetri ain't going to say it, you ain't going to say it, and I don't want you to be the bad guy. Kamala is different than a young girl selling pussy. A young girl selling pussy might be selling pussy to put food on a table. Kamala gave her pussy away for advancement.
See, yeah, I'm glad you said that. But a report came out. Kamala and her husband are worth about $7 million now. So what she did kind of paid off, I guess. But, you know, you're right. You know, set these people free. I tell you guys all the time, I met a young man that's 23 years old who was on a registered sex offender because a white lady passed by him with her daughter as he was taking a pee outside, called the police on him, and they sent him to prison. And when he got out, he had to register as a sex offender. He was actually homeless. I met him as he was on the streets. It was day after Thanksgiving. He was looking for something to eat. I mean, it looked really bad, you know, looking for something to eat. The church was closed day after Thanksgiving. You know, and I got him some food and all of that, but he told me, he says, I can't go to a homeless shelter because I'm a registered sex offender. The church can't put me up anywhere because I'm a registered sex offender. I can't go live in Georgia with my grandma because my parole officer won't allow me to go do that. And so I'm stuck to living on the street because I was sentenced as a sex offender for peeing outside, and the white woman didn't like it and called the police on him. So to Gary's point, you don't know why a lot of people in the position that they're in, but they do need to let people go once they serve their time so they can go live normal lives.
The recidivism rate for people going back into jail after they've been incarcerated is through the roof. And like I said before, when they are paroled and on probation, you know, when they try to get an apartment, that's going to come up. They won't give them the apartment. They can't go to college. They should have did it while they was in there because some states will not allow them to go to school. You see what I'm saying? Most jobs will not hire them, so they're stuck with working McDonald's or something else. If they knew what the offshore division was, get you a TWIC card and take your behind out there because they'll take you. Because that's like being in jail working on a drilling rig. You out in the middle of nowhere. And you got to be out there and be able to function and not be around regular society. So that is a field that they can go in. But people that don't have compassion for people that have been to jail, you've never been through anything. You've never really been through anything. No, you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you ain't been through shit. There are some good people out there that just made mistakes. There are also good people that didn't make mistakes, like the Central Park Five that went to jail for fucking nothing. And even when they got out, they would criminalize more until it was proven that they were wrong. So why didn't the people who sent them to jail wrongfully knew that they were in violation of the law by doing it? Why didn't they go to jail? That's a law that needs to be in place. All these motherfuckers out here lying on black people, sending them to jail for no reason. They ass need to go to jail.
You know, and I was going to say this too, because I know we keep saying, what about the CBC? What about Kamala? What about these other black people? Can I tell y'all something? They don't give a fuck. They don't. And so The more we keep asking what, but how come they ain't said this? They're not going to. They're not going to. We're not going to make them do it, and they know we're not going to make them do it. Most of our people, like the 76-year-old lady, are in jail due to people like Kamala and Joe Biden who make these very austere laws that do target Black people. They don't care. Now we know if that was an old Asian lady or white lady, yeah, they have, oh, this is wrong. And we wouldn't even hear about it to this degree because they wouldn't even be back in jail. But because it's us, we know they don't care. So now we need to get about the business of thinking, what can we do on this level? We got elections coming up. There's a whole lot of ways we can get their attention. But until we do that, it's just talk. And they're not going to make any moves.
Now, when you say Asian and white ladies, what was the sentence for the Asian lady that shot the little girl in the store behind the fucking orange juice?
Probation.
She didn't do any time.
Probation. She got, I think it was 5 years probation.
Well, I think originally they did give her something, but then she ended up getting out. But she's got a store in Lancaster, California, ran by her son. I know exactly where it is.
So exactly, she got her life back. So why can't we have ours back? Why can't these people have theirs back? Why can't that man that you saw that was homeless have his life back? Because it's not set up for us to get it back. They're going to control you one way or the other. And once you get into their system, they own you.
And when you don't have money to defend yourself, which they know you don't, to get a effective lawyer, you're fucked. I mean, that's why a lot of us take the plea deal. They say, well, you're looking at life, but if you take this plea, how many young people in the 90s and the 80s and the 90s took plea deals that if they had fought it, probably would have been a better outcome than just taking the plea deal? I mean, a lot of lives have been destroyed because we lack resources. We lack money. That's why, you know, we got to start getting this right and electing people that are going to do for the community. We have 9 years to get this right, you guys. After 9 years, it's going to be a wrap. This conversation will be irrelevant. Anything that we have to say 9 years from today will not matter at that point.
We also lack knowledge. When we start getting some knowledge of how the system works, then, you know, we won't be taking these plea deals. We'll be like, hey, you know what? I got a 50-50 chance if I take this shit to trial, you know, but you ain't going to just ramrod me through the system, you know, and with all this bogusness you got going on, it would behoove us to learn the law, at least on the smaller scale, right?
Well, I tell you what, man, it all starts with us selecting the right representation. It all starts with that. I got something that I'm working on, an expose with KPRC Channel 2 that'll be coming out very soon. I don't know how fast it's going to come out, but it's going to shock y'all. It's going to shock you. And some people should be going to jail. And you know what? They got millions, but they Black. And they gonna go to jail. Because if these were white people, they could have thousands and they wouldn't see a day in there. But they're gonna make an example out of these with what I got coming up. So that's why for me, I may not be exactly what you want as a politician, but I am exactly what you need. It's a difference between wanting and needing. Yeah, I ain't what you want, but I know I'm what you need. No nonsense, straight to the point, can handle myself in any venue. I think you got a chance to see that today, Demetra. With all the horror stories people can tell you, I know how to handle myself in certain settings. You see what I'm saying? So we're working on a peace summit for July 31st. If you're in town, you and Al, y'all please come and attend. You need to see what we do. Me, the good doctor, Calandria Simpson Kemp, and Reginald Gordon. This is a 4-man relay that you could never understand. And when we leave the building, somebody's child gonna be saved. Without no money, no resources, just a mom up there that done lost her kid, a old man up there that got 200 years and got out and got his life right, a good minister, and a crazy motherfucking black Republican. And guess what? We all give a damn about the people. Final thoughts, Ms. Demetri.
Yeah, I mean, my final thoughts are until, you know, we get on the same page as black people, we're always going to be asking questions. We're always going to be begging. Black people are in a state of begging all the time, begging politicians and everybody else to see us, do something for us. When we start working together, then they're going to start doing it. And we start holding their asses accountable at the polls during election time and all of that. Then they're going to start to see us. Then they're going to start to make legislation that benefits black people. But until then, they're not. I mean, it's just really that simple. We can take a note from every other community and see what they're doing. And the one thing they're doing is sticking together regardless.
My final thoughts is this. Black men, black women, we need each other. We got to stop this bullshit of pointing the finger at each other and saying, I don't need no man, I don't need no woman, blah, blah, blah. We need each other because, like I said, 9 years, it's going to be a wrap if we don't get this shit right. And that's the bottom line because Donovan said so.
My final thoughts, and I've been saying it for a reason, the Negro still is not free. No matter if you're a rich Negro, no matter if you what we don't believe exists anymore, middle class Negro, and it don't matter if you're a poor Negro, the Negro still is not free. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because some of y'all are enslaved right here. That's where your chains are. And you are far worse off than us that could ever be enslaved like this. Because your mind is enslaved. And you need to wake your black ass up. Say, man, it's a reason we the best in the building. Every night, 7 o'clock, YouTube, Facebook. It's the war zone, baby. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri K, and the most dangerous man in America, the 5-star general. Tomorrow night, we're going to switch the game up. It's called Dirty Politics. And somebody is going to get exposed. Tomorrow night on Facebook and YouTube. But get ready, the Money Man will be here Thursday, and then it's Free Flow Friday, and we're going to leave it on the flow the rest of the week. Until tomorrow, we'll holler at you.